You can still find a sunny beach, a cozy cabin, a mountain town that looks like a postcard. Not a scam, not a tourist trap, real places with a catch. Because in 2025, America isn't just beautiful, it's a natural disaster obstacle course. Think Category 5 coastlines, fire belts that torch entire valleys, and tornado alleys that treat neighborhoods like confetti. Quick proofs? A Gulf town where surge maps look like bathtub fill lines. A western state where wildfire smoke turns noon into midnight. A mountain corridor where avalanches drop like scheduled deliveries. You're not ready for what's next. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe. This channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit. By the end, you're packing your bags. Or you're wondering why anyone still lives here. Let's break it down. Vermont, quaint little Vermont, maple syrup, ski slopes, and disasters that prove even postcard states have a dark side. Floods routinely wipe out valleys, washing away roads and bridges like they're made of cardboard. Hurricane Irene alone left the state looking like someone pulled the plug on its infrastructure. Population around 650,000, median home price about $370,000. Winters here are brutal, often dropping below zero, and storms bring ice thick enough to snap power lines for days. Residents stockpile generators the way Californians stockpile yoga mats. One Vermonter joked, "We don't measure storms by inches of snow. We measure by how long we're stuck without Wi-Fi." Picture a log cabin buried up to its windows, maple syrup frozen solid, and the only sound outside is your neighbor trying to dig their Subaru out of a glacier. If Vermont feels rough, wait until you see the southern state where hurricanes turn front yards into swimming pools overnight. South Carolina. Palmetto trees, sweet tea, and hurricanes that show up like relatives who refuse to leave. Florence, Hugo, Matthew, pick a storm, it's probably hammered South Carolina. With a population of 5.3 million and 187 miles of coastline, the state is basically a dartboard for the Atlantic. Median home price sits near $290,000, but the real cost comes in insurance. Charleston may look gorgeous, but when evacuation time hits, highways turn into parking lots. Add in rising seas, and beachfront living comes with scuba gear included. Locals joke, you don't buy flood insurance here, you just buy a boat. And after a storm, mosquitoes appear big enough to bench press. Spanish moss drips from oak trees, the air feels like soup, and you're standing ankle deep in coastal charm that now doubles as your living room. If this feels dicey, wait until we hit the Plains state where tornadoes shred houses like tissue paper. Kansas, where tornadoes aren't an occasional threat, they're seasonal entertainment. Every spring, dozens of twisters touch down, treating barns, cars, and whole neighborhoods like confetti. Population 3 million, median home price $215,000, and around 80 tornadoes a year, among the highest in the country. Add hail the size of golf balls, flash floods, and brutal winter storms, and the state feels like a training ground for apocalypse survival. Residents say, in Kansas, we don't go to the basement, we live in it. And the hail? It doesn't dent cars, it turns them into modern art. Golden fields sway under wide skies until they turn black, and you clutch the dog wondering if your house will still be there in 10 minutes. If that sounds wild, wait until you see the western state, where earthquakes shake cities like maracas. California, sunshine, Hollywood, and the ground itself plotting against you. California is a disaster buffet. Earthquakes, wildfires, mudslides, drought. Take your pick. With 39 million people and a median home price of $760,000, it's paradise with a catch. The 1994 Northridge quake cost $35 billion. Wildfires erased whole towns like paradise. Mudslides in Malibu wipe out multi-million-dollar homes every rainy season. Locals joke, we don't buy candles for romance. We buy them for when the power goes out again. And fire season paints sunsets in smoky orange, Instagram-worthy until your lungs collapse. Palm trees bend under orange skies, freeways clog with traffic, and your neighbor shrugs, "Oh, that's just a small quake." If California feels shaky, wait until you see the Gulf state where hurricanes hit harder than hangovers. Louisiana, jazz, gumbo, Mardi Gras beads, and hurricanes that keep coming like bad sequels. Katrina was just the headliner. Rita, Laura, Ida all followed, leaving scars from New Orleans to the bayous. Population 4.6 million, median home price $210,000, and coastal wetlands disappearing at the rate of a football field every 100 minutes. Hurricanes, floods, and tornadoes hit so often that FEMA trailers feel like permanent neighborhoods. Locals shrug, we don't have a hurricane season, we have a hurricane lifestyle. And after storms, mosquitoes arrive in squadrons like they've just enlisted. Brass bands echo through Bourbon Street, beads rain from balconies, and you're wading through water that was supposed to stay in the bayou. If Louisiana feels soaked, wait until you see the desert state where wildfires race faster than free Wi-Fi. Oklahoma. Flatlands, fried food, and tornadoes that rip through neighborhoods like nature's lawnmower. Oklahoma is basically Kansas' rowdy cousin, only louder and angrier. The state sees about 60 tornadoes a year, plus hailstorms that can turn a windshield into a snow globe in seconds. Add in flash floods and ice storms, and it's like the weather can't pick a lane. With 4 million people and a median home price around $190,000, living here is cheap, until you factor in rebuilding your roof every other summer. One local said, "We don't watch the weather, we survive it." Sirens go off so often they blend into background noise like cicadas with a side of panic. Picture the prairie stretching out forever, skies turning green, and you holding a lawn chair down so it doesn't fly off to Missouri. If Oklahoma feels stormy, wait until you see the northern state where winter is a full-time job. North Dakota. Oil rigs, bison, and winters that make Antarctica look like a spa weekend. North Dakota doesn't need hurricanes or quakes. Its blizzards do enough damage on their own. January averages near zero, and wind chills dive to -40. Roads vanish, towns shut down, and snowplows become local celebrities. Flooding along the Red River also swamps communities, turning fields into shallow lakes overnight. Median home price hovers around $250,000, but don't be fooled by the affordability. Heating bills will make your wallet scream louder than the winter wind. Locals like to joke, we have 2 seasons, winter and construction. Both block the roads. Snow piles up against barn doors, the horizon disappears into white, and you pray your truck starts before frostbite takes a toll. If that feels harsh, wait until you see the western state where wildfires redraw the map every year. Montana. Big sky country, mountain views, and natural disasters that remind you size really does matter. Montana faces wildfires that torch millions of acres, blizzards that bury highways, and floods that rip through valleys without warning. Population just over 1 million, median home price $430,000, and the sheer size of the state means emergency help might be hours away. When wildfires hit, whole towns vanish under smoke. Winters? Try -30 with blizzards that trap ranchers in their homes for days. A Montanan once joked, "We don't have neighbors. We have distant acquaintances you can't reach till June." Smoke clouds turn sunsets blood red, elk stand frozen in the snow, and you realize the beauty doubles as a survival test. If Montana feels vast, wait until you see the state where earthquakes and volcanoes tag team like pro wrestlers. Washington. Evergreen forests, coffee culture, and a volcano just sitting there like Chekhov's gun. Washington's disasters range from earthquakes to landslides to the looming threat of Mount Rainier, which scientists politely call dew. The state has 7.7 million people, median home price over $560,000, and some of the worst landslides in the country. The Oso landslide in 2014 buried an entire community, and the region still isn't over it. Add in coastal floods and constant rain, and you start to wonder if Seattle coffee shops are just flood shelters with espresso machines. Locals joke, "We don't tan, we rust." And when Mount Rainier finally decides to wake up, the whole west side of the state is in trouble. Fog drifts over pine forests, ferries cross gray water, and in the distance, a snow-capped volcano quietly reminds you it's the landlord. If Washington feels risky, wait until you see the Midwestern state where tornadoes don't knock, they just barge in. Missouri, the show-me state, where the weather shows you everything in 1 week. Tornadoes, floods, ice storms, you name it, Missouri throws it on the calendar. With 6.2 million people and a median home price around $220,000, it seems affordable until you factor in basements that double as storm shelters. The Missouri and Mississippi rivers flood often, turning whole neighborhoods into lakes. Tornado Alley cuts straight through, dropping twisters that flatten towns overnight. A local quipped, "If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll try something worse." Thunder rumbles across flat farmland. Rivers swell over their banks, and sirens wail while you debate whether to hide in the basement or row a boat through it. If Missouri feels unstable, wait until you see our next state, where earthquakes rattle skyscrapers like maracas. Alaska, the last frontier, where nature looks majestic and tries to kill you at the same time. Alaska's disasters range from earthquakes to volcanic eruptions to blizzards that turn highways into ice rinks. With just 730,000 people spread across a land bigger than Texas, California, and Montana combined, help is rarely nearby. The 1964 Good Friday earthquake, magnitude 9.2, remains the largest ever recorded in North America. Add in avalanches, wildfires, and winters where -40 is normal, and you start to wonder how anyone survives. One Alaskan said, "We don't wait for spring, we wait for the thaw." Mountains glow pink in the midnight sun, rivers freeze solid, and tremors shake cabins like snow globes. If Alaska feels dangerous, wait until you see the southern state where hurricanes tear through every fall like clockwork. Florida, the Sunshine State, where paradise comes with a hurricane warning. Florida is the undisputed king of tropical disasters. Andrew, Irma, Michael, Ian, the list goes on. Population 22 million, median home price $390,000, and nearly 1,350 miles of coastline. Translation: there's no safe corner. Add in sinkholes that swallow houses whole and thunderstorms that roll in daily like afternoon tea, and Florida's charm starts to fade. Locals laugh, "We don't evacuate, we throw hurricane parties." Palm trees bend in sideways rain, alligators swim through flooded neighborhoods, and the power goes out while your neighbor's still grilling. If Florida feels chaotic, wait until you see the desert state where wildfires torch entire communities. Arizona, cacti, canyons, and a sun that feels like it's out for blood. Arizona's natural disasters lean toward extreme heat, dust storms, and wildfires that rip through dry forests faster than you can say hydration. Median home price is around $420,000, population over 7 million, and summers in Phoenix routinely hit 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Add in haboobs, giant dust storms that roll over cities like walls of sand, and you've got a desert nightmare. Residents joke, if you don't like the heat, just wait till night, when it's still 100 degrees. The sky turns brown as dust swallows the skyline, asphalt melts sneakers, and smoke rises from mountain ridges glowing orange in the distance. If Arizona feels like an oven, wait until you see the coastal state where earthquakes and tsunamis are both on the menu. Oregon. Green forests, craft beer, and a ticking geological time bomb. Oregon faces earthquakes, tsunamis, wildfires, floods, you name it. The Cascadia subduction zone off the coast is overdue for a quake that could flatten cities and send a tsunami racing inland. Population 4.3 million, median home price about $480,000. Wildfire smoke chokes valleys every summer, and heavy rains trigger landslides in the mountains. People here say, "We don't tan, we mold." And every time Mount Hood rumbles, Portlanders wonder if their hipster coffee shop will turn into a lava fountain. Rain drums on mossy roofs, smoke hangs low over rivers, and the Pacific glitters with the threat of a monster wave. If Oregon feels edgy, wait until you see the Plains state where tornadoes hit like clockwork. Texas, big sky, big hats, and disasters even bigger. Texas gets hurricanes on the Gulf, tornadoes in the north, wildfires in the west, blizzards up in Amarillo, and the occasional power grid collapse just for spice. Population 30 million, median home price $300,000, and enough square miles to host every type of disaster at once. Hurricane Harvey in 2017 dumped more than 50 inches of rain on Houston. Winter Storm Uri in 2021 froze the whole state, shutting down power and water. Texans shrug. If you don't like the disaster, drive 3 hours. You'll find a different one. Bayous overflow, tumbleweeds blow across parched highways, and suburban houses sit under icicles longer than the mortgage paperwork. If Texas feels overwhelming, wait until you see the Midwest state where rivers eat entire towns. Iowa. Cornfields stretching forever, and floods that turn them into inland seas. Iowa sits squarely in flood territory, with the Mississippi and Missouri rivers regularly spilling their banks. Population 3.2 million, median home price $210,000. Tornadoes sweep across the plains every spring, and winters bring ice storms that snap power lines like twigs. Locals say, "Our corn grows fast, but the water rises faster." Green fields ripple under storm clouds, grain silos stand in waist-deep water, and you realize the only thing not underwater is the insurance bill. If Iowa feels soggy, wait until you see the mountain state where avalanches and earthquakes tag team. Utah, Mormon temples, red rock arches, and a fault line running right under Salt Lake City. Utah's biggest threat is earthquakes, with the Wasatch Fault overdue for a massive rupture. Add in flash floods that sweep hikers off canyon trails and wildfires that burn through parched hills, and it's not just a postcard state. Population 3.4 million, median home price $500,000. In 2020, a 5.7 quake near Salt Lake shook buildings and cracked roads, a preview of what's coming. Utahns joke, We prep for quakes with food storage and extra jello. Sandstone cliffs glow orange in the sun. Stormwater roars through slot canyons, and skyscrapers downtown tremble at the thought of what lies beneath. If Utah feels unsteady, wait until you see the southern state where hurricanes never take a year off. North Carolina. Barbecue, bluegrass, and hurricanes that batter the Outer Banks like it's a seasonal sport. North Carolina also sits on Tornado Alley's edge, gets floods from mountain storms and ice storms that freeze highways solid. Population 10.7 million. Median home price $320,000. Hurricane Florence in 2018 dumped nearly 3 feet of rain, swamping entire counties. One resident said, "We don't name babies here, we name hurricanes." Barrier islands vanish under storm surge, pine forests crack under ice, and you're left debating if moving inland just means trading floods for twisters. If North Carolina feels risky, wait until you see the western state where the ground shakes every year. Nevada. Bright lights, empty deserts, and a disaster mix people forget about. Nevada faces earthquakes, flash floods, and wildfires that light up the dry hills like neon. Population 3.1 million, median home price $430,000. Las Vegas isn't just glitzy casinos, it sits near fault lines capable of big shakes. Monsoon storms turn the strip into rivers, while wildfires creep toward Reno every summer. Locals joke, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless it's floodwater. Desert skies glow pink at dusk. Stormwater gushes through casino garages, and slot machines keep ringing while nature flips the table. If Nevada feels risky, wait until you see the state where volcanoes and quakes share the same neighborhood. Hawaii. Paradise comes with lava. Hawaii's disasters include volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, and floods. Basically, the whole natural disaster catalog. Population 1.4 million. Median home price $840,000. Kilauea erupted in 2018, destroying hundreds of homes. Hurricanes skim the islands, and tsunamis from distant quakes can wipe out coastal towns in hours. Islanders say, "We don't fear lava, we just hope it flows the other way." Palm trees sway under tropical skies, black rock steams as molten rivers cut through neighborhoods, and you realize the postcard image forgot the part about evacuation routes. If Hawaii feels intense, wait until you see the top 10, where the disasters only get bigger, louder, and deadlier. Colorado. Rocky Mountain highs and avalanches that don't care how scenic the view is. Colorado's beauty comes with blizzards, wildfires, and flash floods roaring down canyons like freight trains. Population 5.8 million. Median home price around $530,000. Ski resorts rake in tourists, but every winter avalanches bury roads and backcountry trails. Summers bring wildfires so intense the smoke drifts across state lines. Locals joke, "We don't own four-wheel drive for fun. It's survival." Snow blankets the peaks, rivers surge with melted ice, and you realize your postcard-perfect cabin is one storm away from becoming matchsticks. If Colorado feels risky, wait until you see the state where hurricanes grind entire coastlines into rubble. Spring floods also tear through mountain towns after snowmelt, sending rivers straight into people's basements. Wildfire smoke can linger for weeks, turning Denver's skyline into a smoggy postcard nobody asked for. Even the sunshine is sneaky. Altitude burns you faster than you can say sunscreen. Alabama. Sweet tea, southern charm, and tornadoes that rip through neighborhoods like angry freight trains. Alabama sits in Dixie Alley, where twisters strike with terrifying frequency, often at night when people are asleep. Population 5 million, median home price $215,000. Add in hurricanes from the Gulf, floods, and heat waves that make asphalt bubble, and it's a dangerous cocktail. One resident said, "Our weather app needs a panic button." Sirens wail across dark skies, winds roar like jet engines, and you realize the old oak tree isn't shade, it's a threat. If Alabama feels brutal, wait until you see the state where earthquakes hit harder than traffic. Humidity makes summer storms feel like saunas with lightning. Hurricanes from the Gulf often finish what the tornadoes start, leaving half the state cleaning up year-round. Rural areas get hit the hardest. Whole towns can vanish from the map before most people outside the state even notice. Illinois. Chicago skyscrapers, deep dish pizza, and tornadoes barreling across flat farmland. Illinois faces twisters, floods along the Mississippi, and brutal winter storms that freeze Lake Michigan solid. Population 12.6 million. Median home price $280,000. In 2013, a massive tornado outbreak leveled towns in central Illinois, leaving scars that still linger. Locals say if the Cubs can win the World Series, anything's possible, even surviving tornado season. Gray skies swirl over cornfields, ice coats skyscraper windows, and you wonder if deep dish pizza doubles as bunker rations. If Illinois feels dicey, wait until you see the state where wildfires burn year-round. Ice storms knock out Chicago transit so fast commuters sleep at the office. Rural towns, meanwhile, get flattened by twisters while city folks argue over pizza crust. River flooding also swallows farmland for months, and mosquitoes show up afterward like unpaid contractors to finish the job. Idaho. Potatoes, mountains, and wildfires that don't quit. Idaho's rugged beauty comes with disasters ranging from forest fires to avalanches to flooding rivers swollen by melting snowpack. Population 1.9 million, median home price about $430,000. Wildfires regularly torch hundreds of thousands of acres, sending smoke across the northwest. Winters bring deadly avalanches to ski towns like Sun Valley. Idahoans shrug, we don't need fireworks. Fire season puts on a show. Pine forests crackle in the heat, rivers overflow their banks, and the mountains loom with both beauty and danger. If Idaho feels unstable, wait until you see the state where hurricanes rewrite history. Wildfire season stretches longer each year, with smoke so thick entire valleys vanish from sight. Avalanches regularly close highways, cutting towns off from supplies. And when the snow melts too fast, rivers surge, washing away bridges like toy models. The outdoors here demands respect, or at least insurance. Mississippi. Delta blues, catfish, and natural disasters on repeat. Mississippi takes hits from hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and even earthquakes from the New Madrid fault zone. Population 3 million, median home price $160,000. Hurricane Katrina devastated the coast, while inland twisters and floods keep the state in constant recovery mode. Poverty makes rebuilding even harder. One resident sighed, "We don't rebuild, we just rearrange." Storm surge crashes over Gulf shores, twisters rip through small towns, and swollen rivers creep toward porches. If Mississippi feels cursed, wait until you see the state where quakes and fires strike at once. Summer humidity turns storms into swamp monsters, while tornadoes rip through farmland like paper. Coastal flooding makes whole neighborhoods unlivable, yet people rebuild anyway because moving isn't an option. Infrastructure lags behind recovery, so even minor storms leave lasting scars. It's resilience mixed with constant frustration. Tennessee. Country music, whiskey, and tornadoes that don't stop for anything. Tennessee also faces floods from the Mississippi and Cumberland rivers, winter ice storms, and occasional earthquakes from the New Madrid fault. Population 7 million, median home price $280,000. Nashville and Memphis both sit in the path of tornado outbreaks that flatten entire neighborhoods. In 2010, floods swamped downtown Nashville, causing billions in damage. A local joked, "We write country songs about heartbreak, not about FEMA checks, but maybe we should." Storm clouds roll over rolling hills, rivers overflow, and the twang of guitars echoes over a state that's always bracing for the next hit. If Tennessee feels battered, wait until you see the West Coast state where the ground shakes daily. Mountains trap storm systems that dump rain until rivers burst. Small towns along creeks often drown overnight without warning. Ice storms coat everything in glass, snapping power lines and trees. Tornadoes, meanwhile, hit cities with terrifying regularity, forcing residents to keep weather radios on like alarm clocks. Washington, D.C., the nation's capital where politics aren't the only disaster. D.C. deals with floods, hurricanes, winter storms, and the occasional earthquake that rattles monuments like dice. Population 700,000, median home price nearly $700,000. The Potomac floods frequently, swamping basements and roads. Hurricanes push storm surge into the city, and winters dump heavy snow that paralyzes the government. Residents mutter, "If Congress doesn't shut us down, the weather will." Cherry blossoms whip in storm winds, marble monuments drip with rain, and power outages stretch longer than filibusters. If DC feels chaotic, wait until you see the West Coast giant where disasters are practically scheduled. The city shuts down at the first snowflake, yet floods roll in every summer. Infrastructure is ancient, so even a heavy rain can paralyze whole neighborhoods. Add hurricanes sweeping up the coast, and you've got a capital where politics aren't the only disaster keeping people indoors. Washington State. Yes, it's back on the list. Washington gets a second shout because of the Cascadia subduction zone. Scientists say the inevitable Big One quake could destroy everything west of I-5. Add tsunamis, volcanoes, wildfires, and landslides, and Washington is basically nature's testing ground. Population 7.7 million, median home price $560,000. Seattle sits on shaky ground, while Mount Rainier looms like a ticking clock. People here joke, "We don't prep for earthquakes, we just drink more coffee." Rain lashes evergreen forests, volcanoes glow under the clouds, and Puget Sound waits for its tsunami cue. If Washington feels risky, wait until you see the Northeast state that's been crushed by storm after storm. Every summer brings wildfires that choke the air across the Cascades. Landslides sweep away roads after endless rain, isolating entire towns. And the looming Cascadia quake could flatten everything from Portland to Seattle. Residents stockpile coffee like survival gear because caffeine might be the only defense left. New Jersey. Boardwalks, diners, and hurricanes that won't quit. New Jersey gets slammed by coastal storms, blizzards, and hurricanes like Sandy, which wrecked the shore in 2012. Population 9.2 million. Median home price $480,000. Dense population makes every storm more damaging. Nor'easters regularly flood the coast, while snowstorms bury highways and cut power to millions. Jersey residents shrug, "We don't pump gas ourselves, we pump floodwater." Waves crash over seaside towns, boardwalk lights flicker in hurricane winds, and highways freeze under blizzards. If New Jersey feels battered, wait until you see the #1 state where disasters are basically the brand. Nor'easters slam the coast every winter, mixing snow, ice, and flooding in a miserable cocktail. Dense suburbs mean one storm can wreck millions of lives in a night. Even minor hurricanes cripple transport, and power outages linger while commuters curse at traffic. Disaster here is basically rush hour. California. California tops the list because no other state has such a variety of ways to ruin your day. Earthquakes, wildfires, droughts, mudslides, floods, you name it, California delivers. Population 39 million. Median home price $760,000. The San Andreas Fault looms under Los Angeles and San Francisco. Fire season grows longer every year, swallowing communities whole. Rainstorms trigger deadly slides in the hills. Californians shrug, "We don't live here for safety. We live here for the weather, when it behaves." Palm trees sway under orange skies, mountains collapse in muddy rivers, and neighborhoods vanish into smoke. California isn't just a state, it's the final boss of natural disasters. So there you have it, 30 states where Mother Nature isn't just a backdrop, she's the main villain. From hurricanes pounding the Gulf to tornadoes tearing the plains, from earthquakes under city streets to lava spilling into neighborhoods, America is as dangerous as it is beautiful. Which one makes you think twice about living there? Or are you the type who packs sandbags and calls it a weekend hobby? Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe. This channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit. Because when the storm hits, at least you'll have stories.